There we go. We are in motion, guys. Welcome to the call. What a time to be alive, man. I'm excited to be here. Shout out to Akil Bay. Shout out to everybody that spoke. And shout out to yourself for being plugged in and being plugged in consistently, guys. One of the biggest pieces of success is just your ability to show up. And some people lose that drive. Some people, they get so lost in the mundane, they miss it. But if you master the mundane, you will make millions. You got to master the mundane, master doing those same repetitious, mundane, menial things over and over and over again. And at some point, you're going to see the thing that you want happen. But here's what happens, guys. And then drop a 777 in the chat if you're here or you've been here before. Have you ever been doing something, been moving and grooving, been shaking and vibing, and you just felt like you just hit a pause? Has anybody been there before? Drop a 777 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. Like you've been moving and grooving, you're like, dang, what just happened? Dang, man, everything is slowing down. Things are going backwards. What the world is happening? Here's what I want you guys to know. I see a lot of 7-7s coming in. What you got to know is that there's beauty in the pause. That's the note, the first note. If you ain't wrote down nothing, that's what I want you to write down tonight for this particular call. There's beauty in the pause, and not many people understand the beauty that lies in the pause, the beauty of lying there, not moving how you used to move. Because here's what happens. You get into a place where you have the ability to think accurately. You can start thinking correctly. And see, it says in the book, Science of Getting Rich, that accurate thinking is the hardest work that a human being can engage in. Accurate thinking is the hardest work that a human being can engage in. So think about the hardest things you've ever done in your life. He believes that being able to think accurately in regards of your circumstances is the hardest thing to do. He actually calls it laborious. Right, let me let these people in the room. He actually calls it laborious. So being able to think accurately when everything is negative, being able to think accurately when everything isn't going your way. See, that's where you got to get to when you're in the pause. Because if I think any opposite way about the pause in my process or whatever it may be, and you get to speaking negatively about that, then what begins to happen is negativity consistently shows up in your life. So what you got to recognize is that there's beauty in the pause. And at some point, everybody's going to experience it. So right now you may be moving, but somebody else may be paused. And there's another person who's about to walk into a period of being paused, because what the pause do, the pause forces you to think. But what you got to do is decide if you're going to think accurately in according to your circumstances, or accurately and according to your truth, or inaccurately according to your current circumstances. So your current circumstances is current, meaning it can change at any moment, meaning it does not have to remain that way because it's current, right? So, but if I don't have that understanding about what I'm going through, let me make somebody the co-host real quick, because the chat box is, hey, B Burrell, I just made you the co-host. Help me out with the chat, please. I meant with the meeting room. All right, bet, because I don't want to lose my flow, right? So when I recognize that there's beauty in my pause, I don't trip too much about my pause. Think with me. When I recognize that there's beauty in my pause, I don't think too much about my pause. And here's where I'll really know that is beauty in my pause, right? When you believe that your future has already happened. Think with me. When you believe that your future has already happened, because when you believe that your future has already happened, you will stop looking for it. Yeah, see, when you believe that it's already happened, when it's already yours, you don't look for it no more. So if you got to go through a period of pause, you don't really trip like that, because you know it's already happened. You understand what I'm saying? And so I looked up a word today, and I looked up the word eternal. Yo, this is about to blow your mind. I looked up the word eternal. Because it says that we can have eternal life. But here's what eternal means: lasting or existing forever, without end or beginning. Please pay attention. B. Barrera, did you hear? I saw how you started shaking your head. I think you caught what I'm putting down. It says, this is the definition for eternal: lasting or existing forever, without ending or without beginning. So when it says that, Before I formed you, I knew you. That means the pause, he knew the pause would be there. Does that not make sense? Because there is no beginning or there is no end, because you are eternal. You've always been here. Your spirit has always been here. You understand what I'm saying? So if you know that, then you know that everything that's happening is happening because it's designed, because I'm eternal. Before my body was, I was. How else would it say, before I formed you physically, I already knew you? That means I knew your spirit. So knowing that, I got to have the right perspective about my pause to know that I'm paused for a reason. Watch this, I'm paused for a cause. But what's the cause of my pause for? And the only way you begin to figure out the cause of your pause is when you have a strong prayer life. Please pay attention. I'm about to teach you something. Because in life, you got to understand, it happens to everybody. It happens to the best of us, right? Like right now, you don't even know. My whole family got COVID. My mom got COVID, pneumonia. My dad probably got it. He won't go get tested. My son got it. I got it. Sydney got it. So I'm in this place of just pause. Like, I ain't been wanting to post on social media. I ain't been wanting to do nothing. Not because I'm sick, but I want to know why I'm paused. Does that make sense? I want to know why. Even if the test is a false positive, because I ain't got not one symptom, nothing. Y'all know how that whole shebang go, right? But even if it's nothing, I still want to know why am I here? Why did I just get paused? Or why have I been feeling in this place of pause? And you won't get the answers to that until you start to pray. And here's what prayer is really about. Prayer boils down to two things, what it's really about. Maybe about some more things, but here's what I believe. I believe that it comes down to, number one, your gratitude. And number two, your humility. When you think about the essence of prayer, that's what it is. It's your gratitude and it's your humility. If you look up the definition of prayer, here's what it'll tell you. A solemn request for help. I won't ask for help if I'm not humble. Only humble people ask for help. See, the sign of humility is the proof in your ability to ask questions. See, when you ask questions, that means you have humility. Watch this, a solemn request for help or expression of thanks addressed to God. That's what prayer means. That's what it means. So in order for me, because what you got to recognize is that the trials of life is God's training camp. Please write that down. The trials of life are God's training camp. This is how God builds me up, builds my character, builds my skill set, builds my mentality, gets my heart right, so that when I come out of training camp, I'm ready for game. I'm ready for the season, right? But I won't make it through training camp. I won't make it through the trials if I don't express my humility and I don't express my gratitude. So a solemn request for help or expression of thanks addressed to God. That's what prayer is. But watch this, prayer is also an act of faith. See, it takes faith to be grateful every day. It takes faith to pray to a God that you can't see. That takes faith. And see, the reason why people don't do it how they should do it or how they want to do it is because they lack in the faith department. See, when you come to an understanding that it's going to be your gratitude, it's going to be your expression of thanks, it's going to be you asking, it's going to be your prayer that allows you to partner with God. Please pay attention. Because when God is your partner, you don't got to work as hard. Don't y'all got that one good business partner where you know this person going to hold it down? Drop a 777 in the chat if you got that one business partner who you know just going to hold it down no matter what. You know they're going to show up no matter what. You know they're going to show the plan no matter what. You know they're going to get down in the trenches with you no matter what. See, prayer allows you to partner with God in that aspect. And when God is your business partner, you don't got to work as hard. You don't stress that much because you can say, oh, my business partner got it. My business partner got it. And see, but if I don't have the prayer right, the prayer life right, if I don't have the affirmations when I wake up in the morning, right? See, prayer really boils down to just language. So how is your language? Prayer boils down to your confession. What are you confessing every day? See, when you going through this game of life, it's not about how big your belief is or how strong your faith is, but it more so boils down to how much stamina you got. And see, prayer is that supernatural stamina that you need to endure the pause, that you need to endure the process. Please write it down so you don't forget it, because now you may wake up a little bit different with your attitude when it comes down to your affirmations every day, because that's a prayer. When it comes down to your confession every single day, that's a prayer. Asking for help and expression of thanks. That's what prayer is. And so when I'm in my pause season, I'm trying to figure out why am I paused? What it's going to take you is expressing that gratitude, being grateful for where you are, because where you are right now is a lot better than where you were or where you could be. It's a lot better than where you were. It's a lot better than where you could be. Right? And so that's what your prayer does when you're in that pause. But here's the thing about the prayer. What it really does outside of transforming your heart that's needed is also gives you perspective. That's the second piece you want to write down. Perspective, right? Because it's perspective that drives performance. See, for me to work it right, I got to see it right. If I don't see it right, I won't work it right. You understand what I'm saying? If I don't see it right, I won't work it right. But here's what happens. If I work it right in time, it'll work for me. Yeah, if I work it right in time, it'll work for me. You don't know when the time is. Remember, we're the only ones that live in time. God lives in eternity, which is outside of time. So I can't get so lost on when it's going to happen. I just got to know that my time is coming. That's the only thing you really got to know. My time is coming. My hour is coming. The greatest leader of all time would always say, my hour is coming. It's not my hour yet, because he knew, even when it wasn't his hour, that his hour was coming. So you got to know, have that perspective that my time is coming. But you only get that perspective, right, through your gratitude, through your affirmations, through your confession, through your prayer. Here's why. Because prayer is what changes your perspective. Prayer gives you the vision, gives you the sight of God. See, where you sit determines what you see. And see, right now you're sitting down here. God's sitting up here. So to see how he sees, you got to go up there to where he's at to get the viewpoint that he has. Because remember, if I don't see it right, I won't work it right. And if I don't work it right, it can't work for me. So your perspective is vital. But your perspective only comes from your prayer. It only comes from your gratitude. And remember, all of that is an act of faith every single day. Saying what you're so happy and grateful now for, even though you don't physically have it, even though you don't see it whatsoever, that takes faith. Remember, science of getting rich. The hardest thing for the human body to do, the human being to do, is think accurately regardless of their circumstances. You want me to be so happy and grateful now that I'm a millionaire, but my bank account looks like gas prices. Or not mine, but people, right? I don't even put that on me. You understand what I'm saying? So people say, you want me to be so happy and grateful to be a millionaire, but my bank account is saying the complete opposite. What he says in the book is that you got to think accurately. You got to think your truth regardless of your circumstances. You can only start thinking like that when you get a different perspective. Where does that different perspective come? It's only going to, see, let me ask you this. Do you want to see things how somebody else see it? Or do you want to see it how God sees it? See, having mentorship is great. Having mentorship is great, but your own personal relationship with the mentor of all mentors is even greater. Because where you sit determines what you see. And remember, I'm talking about the pause. See, if you ain't paused right now, then this won't hit you how it's hitting the person that's paused. But if you are not paused, at some point, you're going to be paused, and you can just double back and say, my boy Cool Jones gave me value on how to navigate throughout the pause. I'm speaking from experience from the standpoint of I've had periods of pause over the past 5 years of entrepreneurship. So I've learned how to navigate through the pause. I've learned that I can't control what's happening around me. I can only control what's happening on the inside of me. How do I control what happens on the inside of me? Well, how do things get on the inside of me? Through my eye gates and through my ear gates. So I control the frequencies, the vibes that's coming in here and here. I can't control what happens out here. I have no control over that. But what I can control about what's happening out here is how I see it. I can't control that. So it's my perspective that drives my performance. If I don't see it right, I can't work it right. And here's the thing about perspective. When you get the right perspective, what'll happen is you'll have a different level of preparation. Yeah, you'll have a different level of preparation because your perspective is right. Your perspective is right. See, I can only imagine Noah. God tells Noah to come and build this ark. But when God tells him to come build this ark, Noah had never, ever, ever in his life seen water come from the sky to hit the ground. He had never seen rain before, never heard of rain before. But God comes to him and says that, yo, this is what's about to happen, and I need you to prepare for it, even though I had never seen it. But because he had the right perspective, because he was in partnership with God, he was able to see it right. And even when he started telling other people it was about to rain when nobody else had saw rain before, because his perspective was right, he had the willingness to prepare. He had the willingness to prepare. And so when the thing that he was preparing for finally came, he was ready. Because preparation is an indication that you actually believe. Please write it down. My preparation is an indication that I believe. If I don't believe, I won't prepare. I won't prepare. I remember used to always saying, like, I can't wait to become like this rich guy, millions of dollars in the bank, business is just going really, really well. And at the time I didn't have an LLC. And I remember God saying, like, bro, how can I bless you with this money if you don't even have the means to manage it and do right with it in terms of taxes and get the best benefits? Like, you can't make all this money with just your personal bank account. You got to get prepared. And at this time, I wasn't making real money that required a LLC. But when the real money started coming, guess who's in position? Me. Because I prepared. You understand what I'm saying? So preparation is an indication that you believe. You want a home. You're not even prepared for the home. You want the new car, but you're not even prepared. You're not in position. You want to go chairman, but you're not prepared, meaning you haven't went through the rigorous trainings and the showing the plan and the work, the things that all the people that make six figures in this industry do. You're not prepared. You just want it. There's a difference between wishing for something and being prepared for something. But God doesn't bless what you wish for. He only blesses what you prepare for. So my question is, what are you prepared for? What are you prepared for? So even though you may feel like you're in a pause, in this pause, are you prepared for the breakout? In consolidation, are you prepared for the breakout? When everything opens up and everything just starts going crazy, will you be in position? Will you have all your ducks in a row to get that home when it's time? To get that car when it's time? To get whatever, the wife, the husband, it don't matter. It goes far beyond just this business with me. You understand? But here's what I know. If it works for your relationship, it'll work for this business. If it works for this business, it'll work for getting a home. If it works for getting a home, it'll work for anything. You know, it'll work for Keegan going to the NFL. It'll work for that. It'll work for Keegan being a millionaire before he graduates high school. It'll work for that because it's worked for everything else. It's about preparation. What are you prepared for? Because your preparation is an indication that you believe, but your preparation puts you in position for God to press play. What happens when God presses play? Not when you press play, but what happens when God presses play? You know, when God press play, nobody can hit rewind and nobody can hit pause. And when God presses play, I just feel in my spirit that he don't just press play to have you running in regular speed. I believe that God likes fast forward. Yeah, JVL, I believe that God likes the fast forward button. And when he finally decides to press play on your life, and your life is the Bible for everybody else to read, it's going to be a time in your life where they see supernatural acceleration. They see bamboo season. I'm just crazy enough to just believe that he likes the fast forward button better than regular speed. And what makes me believe that? Because God is a God of multiplication and not one of addition. I mean, if you look at the miracles that he's worked, it wasn't he just added something, he multiplied. Yeah, 2 fish fed over 25,000 people. Yeah, multiplication. Water turned into wine, had a whole wedding drink from it. You understand what I'm saying? Multiplication. So when God presses play, no man can press pause. Watch this. It's going to be hard for you to even pause what God is doing. Matter of fact, you can't even pause what he's doing. Even if you don't be like, yeah, I don't even want this. Once he presses play, it's a wrap. So be grateful for the pause, because it's beauty in the pause. Because when you're in this pause, guess what? It's something you're supposed to be learning. It's something you're supposed to be getting in this pause. How do you see it? Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good tonight, if y'all can tell. Yes, it's one of those nights. Steve Savoy, you with me tonight? My man, I see you. I see you. So remember, the trials, what you're experiencing, this is the training camp just to get you ready for game time. That's it. Don't matter what you're going through. Remember, you're eternal. B, when I looked that word, that was messed up. I'm like, wait a minute, eternal. That means it don't just mean you got it for forever after you live. It means, no, you were here from the beginning, because there is no beginning or end. So now what David teaches about the past, present, and the future, it just makes all the more sense. Shout out to my boy David. It makes all the more sense now because you're eternal. Before your body was, you were. Before I formed you, I knew you. If he knew you, that means he knew where the pause would be at. Maybe I'm just crazy enough to, maybe I'm crazy enough to believe that God, because he knew you, he knew where the pause is, multiple pauses, he knew where they would be at. Matter of fact, he knew where you would drop the ball at because he knew you before he formed you. And see, when you recognize that you're eternal and you were here before you were, and it says that you were made in his image, now it starts clicking and start making a little bit more sense now. And now you say, you know what? This pause ain't so bad no more. Because I know the person that got me in it. And before my body was, I was, because I'm eternal, because it said I'll have eternal life. Man, maybe I'm crazy enough to believe that everything is happening that's happening in your life is not happening by just happenstance. It's happening because of God's stance. Maybe what's happening in your life right now, it's not happening because of happenstance or circumstances. It's happened because of God's stances. You know what? Maybe you don't believe me. Listen to this. This is about to blow your mind. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't hit you how it hit me, but if it hits you anyway how it hit me, then it's going to bring this whole call together. And you may even start jumping up and down. You may even start sweating and shouting stuff. You may start playing a little, you may have a hard time sleeping tonight. If this one sentence, you're going to know the sentence when I say it. I'm going to give you some background and then give you the sentence. And when you hear the sentence, what I want you to do is find the chat box and just light it up with wherever you want to light it up when you hear the sentence. So I'm going to read. Y'all ready? Let me find it. I want you to light that joint up. Only if it hit you how it hit me. Listen to this. Pay attention. Oh, this is so good and rich. So it says, as Jesus was walking along, he saw a man who had been blind from birth. Pay attention. Rabbi, his disciples asked him, why was this man born blind? Was it because of his parents' sins, or was it because of his own sins? Now, let me just pause right there, because y'all know that ain't the sin and shit. I'm going to just pause right there. And how many times do we be thinking like, dang, bro, like, am I here because of something I did? Like, what did I do wrong? Because I be having people call me all the time like, bro, like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it's just not working. Bro, I don't know what it is, but man, something just not clicking. And so the disciples asked him, why was this man born blind? Was it because of his sins or his parents' sins? Was it because of something that he did? Here's what Jesus says. It was not because of his sins or his parents' sins. Jesus answered, this happened so the power of God could be seen in him. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What? This happened for what now? What you said this pause happened for? I see that hit y'all too on IG. What you said this pause happened for? This happened so the power of God could be seen in him. But what I want to do for all y'all online and all y'all on IG Live right now, I want to change a little bit. And I wanted to say, this happened so the power of God could be seen in you. Because here's the thing. The supernatural, it is not supposed to make sense. Meaning the results that you get in your life, not only are they not going to make sense to the people that are looking at you, but 9 times out of 10 is not even going to make sense to you, because you're going to be like, bro, I was just in this period of pause, stagnation, not moving. And somehow, some way, everything just changed. Everything just switch. I mean, I knew it was coming, but man, like this joint is just, I can't even control the income that's coming. I can't even control all the resources and the connections and the people that I'm meeting. I can't even control how my network is expanding. I can't even control what's happening. I'm just here. Like I was just here when I was paused, because it's not me, it's God. See, you didn't do like, it's not, listen, it just happened so the power of God could be seen in you. That's it. So when the supernatural actually happens, you would know that it was God and not you. So when bamboo season actually happens, you would know that it was God and not you. There's a story about Gideon, who had an army, who had a whole platoon, and he had over 10,000 soldiers, 20,000 soldiers. And God takes him all the way down to just 300 soldiers. And he's like, yo, God, why'd you take me down to just 300 soldiers? He said, well, because what I'm about to do, I don't want any of y'all to take credit. And those 300 soldiers, I mean, they didn't have to do nothing because God did everything, but a whole army that they was battling, they started killing themselves. The army that they were battling started killing themselves. Because when God is your partner, you don't got to work as hard. I just told you that. You didn't even think it was real, but I just told you. Yeah, see, there's something that happens in prayer. You start partnering with God. And when God's your business partner, you don't work as hard. So it was for Gideon and his army, so it shall be for you too. Let me just say that thing one more time. This happened. This happened. So let me just, this. What is the this in your life, bro? Sis, what is it? Think about it. Like, what is the this? Because for my bro here, he was blind from birth. That may not be your this. That may not be your this, but what is it? What is your this? Just think about it. Confirmation of the death of my son. Wow. Man, that's tough. Whew. That's tough. Prayers to you, bro. Drop some prayers in the chat for him, man. That's tough. That's tough. Confirmation of the death of my son. Whew. But my man, what was your name? Let me get it. Jashawn Matthews. I know it's tough right now, but according to the book, no matter how we slice it, this happened so the power of God could be seen. It don't matter what it is. God is always going to get the glory from our story. Your life may be the only Bible that people ever read. Your life may be the only Bible that people ever read. So when somebody opens up the book of Jashawn, when somebody opens up the book of Geo, when somebody opens up the book of Chris, what are they going to see? Are they going to see somebody who talked negative about process, who talked negative about the pause, who couldn't overcome? Because again, guys, life happens to everybody. It happens on a different level, but life hits everybody. But the trials, this is where God trains you. This is his training camp. You pull up any great person, I'll show you somebody who overcame great things. But see, remember the thing about perspective, man. I need you to get it. And because that was tough for me to hear that, because I got two sons. You understand what I got two? I can't even imagine. Whew. But think about this though. Remember about perspective. We can sit so close to what we're going through, so close to our problems, so close to the adversity, so close to watch this, so close to the pause, that our eyes get locked in on what we see because it's the only thing that we see. And see, remember, going back to my first point about prayer, I didn't say that, you know what I mean, for any reason. I said that because it's your prayer that changes your perspective. Your prayer gives you a higher viewpoint. And so when I'm locked in on this problem here and I'm seeing it from this eyesight, I'm seeing my challenge from this point of view, and I don't see it from up here, the problem looks way bigger eye to eye. The problem looks so much bigger when it's eye to eye. But as your spirit and your mindset go higher, the problem gets smaller. Y'all ever been on an airplane and before you took off, everything looked big? Everything looks big when you're on the plane. Like the other planes look huge, right? Buildings look big, but as soon as you start climbing higher, the thing that looked big looks like a little speck down there. Because you have a higher viewpoint, you have a higher perspective about what's around you. When you partner with God through your prayer, which is a sign of humility and a show of gratitude, that changes your perspective, making you prepare and putting you in position for God to press play. And when God presses play, shortly after that, it's going to be fast forward. And when God presses play and fast forward, no force, no devil, not even you can stop what God has started. But the question is, are you prepared for what you've been praying for? So with that being said, guys, I love you all. I pray that this call hit you where it needed to hit you. And listen, let's work. We got this event coming up in 2 weeks in the A. And I'm excited for it. Shout out to my brother, Akil, for putting this thing together. We got a star-studded lineup, and I'm looking forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you guys in the A. And we're going to continue to talk about the vision of where the network is going. We talked about it briefly last week, but y'all still don't have the full. Listen, what we working on, bro, is crazy. I'm telling you, we got some stuff in the pipeline that I'm excited about. So let's have an amazing week, and I'm going to see all you guys at the bank. Good night. God bless you, your family, and your dreams. Cool Jones out.